Hi, welcome to EPG Pathshala Spanish. I am Rajiv Saxena and I am teaching Spanish in the Center of Spanish, Italian, Portuguese and Latin American Studies of the Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Today we are going to be learning about the imperative mood. The imperative mood in Spanish is used and is useful for giving direct orders to your students, to younger people, to others who are there, instructions. So in instruction manuals it is used, and also in guidelines the imperative mood is used. In this module you will learn everything that is there to know about them. Remember that a command can only be given directly to the second person, you, singular or plural. Obviously, because you can only be referring in a command to a person who is younger to you, junior to you, or over whom you have a command over. So, as in English, the subject pronoun is generally not used in the Spanish imperative. I repeat, the subject pronoun in English is generally not used in the Spanish imperative. When used in Spanish, the subject pronoun usually follows the imperative form. In formal commands, it indicates extra politeness. So, when you're talking about formal commands, it is being extra polite to the person that you're asking him or her for doing something. But the command is also inherent within the conjugation of the verbs. Sometimes the subject pronouns are used with familiar commands to emphasize the subject. For example, entre usted, por favor, come in please. By saying por favor, usted and entre as in entrar, imperative, you are giving extra emphasis on your being polite, and by saying please also you are emphasizing on the part of being polite. So, come in please would be entre usted, por favor. Estudia tú y aprobarás el examen. Study and you will pass the exam. This is an imperative which has got an order for a person who is younger to you. So, for your child, for a person who is studying under you, you will say estudia tú y aprobarás el examen. Study and you will pass the exam. In the same sense, we can say coma usted, por favor, eat please. So you've laid the table, you got everything set, and then you can say eat please. So you're inviting the other person whom you're referring to in the usted form as coma usted, por favor, eat please. Relaja y no aprobarás el examen. Relax and you will not pass the exam. Again, you're referring to somebody who is junior to you, who is your student, who's in your class, or who's your child. So you will say relaja y no aprobarás el examen. Relax and you will not pass the exam. Again, Beba usted por favor. So you've got a drink for a person and you tell him in the usted form, Beba usted por favor, drink please. So we can say that we are emphasizing our politeness by saying please, por favor, and Beba usted by saying you please drink. Duérmete y no aprobarás el examen. Sleep and you will not pass the exam. Again, a person who's your student, who's your child, you will say duérmete y no aprobarás el examen. Sleep and you will not pass the exam. Actions in this imperative mood are always in the present. I repeat, all the actions in the imperative mood are always in the present. Adverbial expressions of time may be used to stress the urgency of the message or to direct the listener to follow the command at a certain time. So, the adverbial expressions of time are being used to stress the urgency of the message, which means you have to do it now, or to direct the listener to follow the command at a certain time. Abre la puerta, open the door, which means right now. Abre la puerta, open the door. Haz el trabajo ahora, do the work now, right now. Ahora, you're emphasizing that there is a certain time and you have to follow the command which is haz el trabajo ahora. The work has to be done now. Haz el trabajo ahora, do the work now. If the action is expected to be carried out later, there might be an indication of time with appropriate adverbs or adverbial phrases. Paga la cuenta la semana que viene. Pay the bill the next week. So, la semana que viene is the indication of time, and paga la cuenta is the command that you want to give, that you have to pay the bill the next week. Trae el dinero mañana. Bring the money tomorrow. So, mañana is your indication of time, and trae, which is bring, is the traer verb being conjugated in the imperative form. Bring the money tomorrow. Trae el dinero mañana. So, in the informal two affirmative commands, it is very easy to learn commands if you learn how to conjugate the verbs properly. For the familiar affirmative commands, use third person singular form of the present indicative. I repeat, for the familiar, which is the tu or you, affirmative commands, use the third person singular form of the present indicative. And if we drop the infinitive endings ar, er and ir from the radical and add the corresponding ending for elia, it gives the conjugation for the imperative too. So it is very easy. If we drop the infinitive endings ar, er and ir from the radical and add the corresponding ending for el or elia and usted, it gives the conjugation for the imperative too. It's very simple and very clear. For example, comprar, to buy, comprar. So we remove the ar and say compra, and that's a imperative, that's an order, it's a mandato, right? Comprar, compra. Aprender, we remove the er and say in the el elia, aprende. Escribir, escribir, escribe. And that is the imperative form of escribir. Compra, aprende, escribe. Comprar, compra. Aprender, aprende. Escribir, escribe. And that's it. It is a very easy verb to learn. Gritar, to yell. Grita. Beber, to drink. Bebe. Abrir, to open. Abre. And with this, you're giving imperative orders and commands. So, we can see how easy it is to learn this verb conjugation. So, from here, let us move on to other examples of the imperative, the command. For example, formar, to form. So, form, ar ending we drop, and forma, forma. Meter, to put in. Meter, met, er. We remove the er and we use it as the third person singular. Mete. Pedir, to ask for. Pedir is then ir. We remove the ir and we say pide as the third person. So, following this example, we can conjugate the verbs and have full sentences like compra los regalos, buy the gifts, aprende las reglas, learn the rules, escribe la respuesta ahora, write the answer now. By saying ahora, you are stressing on the fact that it has to be done, the action has to be done right now. So, escribe la respuesta ahora. I repeat, compra los regalos, buy the gifts, aprende las reglas, learn the rules, escribe la respuesta ahora, learn the answer right now. Compra los coches, buy the cars. Aprende las cosas, learn the things. Escribe la carta ahora, write the letter right now. Now, in the two affirmative commands of er and ir verbs, we have seen that they have the same endings. The other thing to be kept in mind is that the exclamation marks may be used to indicate the speaker's urgency. So, the exclamation marks which we have in Spanish, which is starting the sentence with an inverted exclamation mark and ending the sentence with a normal exclamation mark, may be used to indicate the urgency of the speaker, right? Context and the punctuation both will help you distinguish the third person singular present indicative forms. For example, a comma tells you when a speaker is addressing a person with an imperative. I repeat, by the context and the punctuation, you can distinguish the third person singular present indicative forms. So, while putting a comma with the speaker, you can understand that the person is being addressed with an imperative. For example, Iqbal, comma, try la maleta. Iqbal, bring the suitcase. If it is being said, it is very easy that I am referring to Iqbal. Iqbal, try la maleta. But when it is being written, then by putting a comma after Iqbal, it is very clear that it is Iqbal, try la maleta. And if I do not put the comma Iqbal, try la maleta, it means Iqbal brings the suitcase, because then it just becomes a third person normal sentence. So by putting the comma, we are indicating that this is an imperative. Because it is in writing, that is why we have to put the punctuation mark. Otherwise, by the tone and the indication of the person's voice, it is enough to understand that Iqbal, try la maleta is a command, and Iqbal, try la maleta is just a sentence which is stating a fact that Iqbal brings the suitcase. The speaker's tone will also help in distinguishing between the commands and the other forms. Abre la puerta, open the door. Abre la puerta, she or he opens the door. So, in Spanish, if we put the inverted exclamation before starting the sentence and the exclamation after the sentence, then it becomes an imperative. Abre la puerta, open the door. And if we do not have the punctuation mark of the exclamation, the inverted exclamation and the normal exclamation, then it becomes abre la puerta. He or she opens the door, which is just a fact that I am informing to the person. So, in the same sense, come la carne, eat the meat. You have to eat the meat, right? Come la carne, he or she eats the meat. So, by the exclamation marks, we can make it very clear whether it is an imperative or whether it is a normal sentence. What are the irregular forms of the familiar to command? Some verbs have irregular conjugations for informal to form. There are some examples which we are going to be dealing with over here. You can have a detailed look at them also in the verb charts given at the end of this chapter in the e-text paper. For example, decir is conjugated in the command form as di, hacer as in as, ir as in ve, poner as in pon, salir as in sal, ser as in se with an accent, tener as in ten, venir as in ven. So, pon, sal, ten, ven, di, as, ve are the command forms that we have learnt right now of decir, hacer, ir, poner, salir, ser, tener or venir verbs. The formal commands. When we are talking about the formal commands, when giving a command in an informal way, it is more prevalent in more areas of the Spanish speaking world. It is still appropriate to use formal commands when giving a direct command to a person or person one whom you are unsure of addressing. Right. So, apart from being unsure of whom to address, you can also use these commands for people whom you are meeting for the first time or whom you consider still unfamiliar. So, for these you will use the formal commands. To whom you owe respect because of her title, rank or age. So, if it's an ambassador, it's a title. If it's a brigadier, it's a rank. Or if it's a person who's elder to you or who's elderly, then you will use the usted form and you will use the formal command. Or whom you encounter in business, commercial or professional settings. So, when you enter a business environment, a commercial environment or a professional area, then you can and you must use the formal commands. Many forms of imperatives are similar to some forms of subjunctive in Spanish. You have not yet studied subjunctive in these papers, but you will use the knowledge of imperative when you will deal with the subjunctive mood. To conjugate the verb, just follow the third person conjugation, drop the last vowel and add the vowel as given below. So I repeat, to conjugate the verb in the imperative, you have to use the Spanish subjunctive. If you have not learned the Spanish subjunctive yet, just follow the third person conjugation, drop the last vowel and add the vowel as we have explained over here. So cantar is conjugated as canta, it's an AR ending, so we add E as cante. Comer is come, it's ER ending, so we add a, coma. So all we have to do is canta, we put an E, comer, we put an a, and in a case like an IR ending verb, vivir, vive, IR ending, so we add a, viva. So ER and IR change to a, and the AR ending verbs like cantar, hablar are all changed to E, cante, hable, etc. Habla, I repeat again, becomes hable. Beber becomes, from bebe it becomes beba. Pedir, it's a pide, it's IR ending, but we add an I, so it becomes pida. So hable, beba, pida. Bailar is also another example of an AR ending verb, so we add E, baile. Coger is to catch, E ending, ER ending, so we add an A, it becomes coja. The only thing is that in coger it changes from COGE to coja, COGA. Conseguir, consigue, it's an IR ending, so we add an A as consiga. Mostrar, muestra, it's an AR ending like hablar, so we add an E and it becomes muestre. Volver, vuelve, it is an ER ending, so we add an A. Vuelva, vuelva usted mañana, please come tomorrow, right? Muestre esos zapatos, show me these shoes. Incluir, incluye, incluya, because we have to make it into a command. Incluya esos textos en tu papel. That's it. So include these texts into your paper. Piensa, pensar, it becomes piense. Querer, quiere, ER ending verb, so we add a, quiera. Destruir, destruye, IR ending verb, so we add an a, destruya. To form an affirmative or plural command, use the above rule in usted form for the singular and ustedes form for the plural. Observe that the formal, polite, imperative, the forms are different. For example, AR and IR ending verbs have the same endings. The plural form of ustedes is formed by adding N to the singular usted form. I repeat, the ER and IR regular verbs have the same endings. The formal form of ustedes is formed by adding N to the singular usted form. If used, the pronouns usted and ustedes usually follow the imperative forms and indicate politeness. So, for stressing or emphasizing on the politeness, you may please use usted and ustedes after the imperative to indicate your politeness and how cultured you are. Negative commands add no before the affirmative command. Here are some exceptions while changing the last vowel of the conjugations which we are going to be speaking right now. Verbs ending in gar, G-A-R, change G to G-U before the E ending. For example, pagar, to pay. Pague usted, P-A-G-U-E, usted. Pague usted. From pagar, it changes to pague, following this rule that pagar changes G-U-E. Paguen ustedes, you all pay. So, adding a no before the affirmative command is a very common feature of Spanish grammar, which we have seen previously also, to add a no before the affirmative command. Sometimes exceptions are also occurring while changing the conjugations, which we are going to describe over here. Verbs ending in GR change G to GU before the E ending. Llegar. We had taken the example of pagar, pague or paguen ustedes. Now we are talking about another verb which is llegar, to arrive. Llegue usted, lleguen ustedes. So pagar changes to GU, which is pague, paguen. Llegar, to arrive, is llegue usted or lleguen ustedes. What happens in verbs ending in GER or GIR? They change the G to J before the A ending. So, escoger, to choose, changes into escoja. Ustedes escojan or escoja usted, which we had also mentioned when we had talked about this verb coger in the previous few minutes when we were talking about these verbs in the video. So, escoger, to choose, becomes escoja usted or escojan ustedes. Verbs ending in GUIR change GU to G before the A ending. So, conseguir, to obtain, which is CONSEGUIR, to obtain, conseguir with a GUIR, changes to consiga, CONSIGA, consiga usted or consigan ustedes. Conseguir changes to consiga or consigan ustedes. The verbs ending in CER and CIR change C to ZC before the A ending. Conocer, to know, conozca, following the rule that says change the C to ZC, conozca usted or conozcan ustedes. Conocer changes to conozca usted to conozcan ustedes. Verbs ending in CAR change C to QU before the E ending. So, tocar, which is to touch, becomes toque usted or toquen ustedes, or it can also be used no me toque, por favor. Right? Verbs ending in ZAR change Z to C before the E ending. For example, comenzar, which is a COMENZAR, to begin, comenzar. It changes as per the rule, the Z changes to C. So it will be comience, COMIENCE, comience usted, or comiencen ustedes, COMIENCEN, comiencen ustedes. Comenzar changes to comience or comiencen in the imperative mood. Now, in the formal commands, when we are talking about the irregular forms, then the following verbs which we are going to be dealing with right now have an irregular first person in the present indicative. The verbs which I am going to mention in a few moments have an irregular first person in the present indicative. The corresponding formal commands are as follows: infinitive, present indicative, formal singular or formal plural. For example, dar, to give. Present indicative is doy. The formal singular is de. The formal plural is den. Another example, estar, to be. The present indicative is estoy. The formal singular is este. The formal plural is estén. Another example, ir, to go, where over here the indicative is voy. The formal singular is vaya. The formal plural is vayan. So we have the normal way of saying goodbye in Spanish. In many places they say vaya con Dios, may you go with the gods, vaya con Dios. So the ir in vaya becomes vaya con Dios, may you go with the gods. So, saber, to know, the present indicative is se with an accent, or the formal singular is sepa, or the formal plural is sepan. Ser, to be, is soy as indicative. In the formal singular it becomes sea, and in the formal plural it becomes sean. Which are the formal commands? These are the formal commands which we have seen. Now what are the plural formal commands of vosotros? To form the affirmative familiar command of each verb in the vosotros form, drop the R of the infinitive and add D. So pensar, to think, becomes pensad. All we have done is remove the AR and put AD. Comer, ER ending, to eat, comed. So we have dropped the R and put a D and it becomes comed. Vosotros comed. Vosotros pensad. Huir, to flee. Huid. Vosotros huid. HUID. So we have removed the R and put a D. For example, chicos, comed el bocadillos. Boys, eat the sandwich. By dropping the R of the infinitive and adding D, we form the imperative commands affirmative as we have done right now. So, a few more examples are tratar, the verb tratar, to deal with, tratad, atar, to tie, atad. So, all we have done is to remove the R and put a D, remove the R and put a D, tratar, tratad, atar, atad, and that's it. For the nosotros commands, they are really not a form of the imperative. They are in fact the nosotros form of the present subjunctive. In English, we use let's to express the same thing. So, let's eat, let's talk, let's walk. This form is to use to invite or urge others or encourage others to do or not to do something, where often we also are a part of that action. So, hablemos con los profesores ahora. Let us talk to the professors now. Hablemos, as in third person, plural, all of us, let us go and talk to the professors now. Hablemos con los profesores ahora. Toquemos la guitarra y bailamos. Let's play the guitar and let's dance. So, you're inviting everybody to play the guitar and to dance. No volvamos aquí jamás. Let's not come back here ever again. Jamás is stressing the negation of that. No volvamos aquí jamás. Let us not come here again ever. So, the conjugation over here is also very simple. Just drop the AR, ER, IR and add emos for AR endings and amos for ER and IR endings, like we have done in the previous example which we have said. So, cantar, to sing, becomes cantemos. I repeat, the conjugation is very simple. Just drop the AR, ER and IR and add amos with an E for AR endings and amos with an A for ER and IR endings. Cantemos, cantar, to sing. Leamos, leer, to read. Recibamos, receive, recibir. So, to conclude, we have learnt almost everything about imperatives, but they will be dealt with in more detailed way in the advanced grammar paper. We need to do more exercises and learn how to use it. Once learnt, these imperatives are a great fun to use, and in fact in Spanish grammar they are used a lot. So, vaya con Dios. So, to conclude, what I would like to say is that we have learnt almost everything that there is to know about imperatives. But these imperatives will be dealt with in a more detailed way in the advanced grammar paper. We need to do more exercises to learn how to use it. Once learnt, imperatives are fun to use and they are being used a lot in the Spanish grammar. So, I would end by saying, vaya con Dios. Thank you.